I do believe we shall all... Come on, Robert, join us. We're walking over to the courthouse. Come on.
Come on, join us.
We'll walk hand in hand.
That was one thing that bothered me.
All deep
It's not a lot of
in our hearts. I do believe we shall overcome someday.
I don't know anything. Right, yeah. I don't know. And we are marching for
active town here, Wallace.
Yeah.
Everybody's preoccupied with making money.
Yeah.
And we are singing.
Gold. Gotta keep that gold, man.
We are a nation of all colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are peace-loving
It's Martin Luther King's birthday.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Hey guys, we put our stick our signs in the snow right there, right here maybe.
Yeah.
Wherever.
That's a good idea.
Connie, can you guys come back here? Or we can. And Carolyn, I'm going to read from it.
Thank you. That's nice. That makes me feel good. Yes.
Wait a minute now. Could you guys get closer together? So you're all so spread out. Wallace, could you move in tighter?
Okay. Well, we're gathered here today on Martin Luther King's observance day of his birthday, January 15th, to honor his vision of unity and freedom. This has been sponsored by Friends of Earth People, an organization that the mission and vision of which is that the native people of the world have been holding information for all of mankind for thousands of years that are the keys to profound freedom. And so we have gathered here with some Native American elders to share words of freedom and unity in the hopes that the Americas can move into their destiny of leading the world in true, profound freedom. The Statue of Liberty stands in the harbor and proclaims that we're a free country, and people come here by the thousands daily to live a free life, and we have not yet moved into that place of profound freedom. So we want to plant those seeds here today.
And
I'd like to just start this off by reading from Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Hey, here we are. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous peaks of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from the Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. When we let freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village, every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. And then I'd just like to read something from Wallace Black Elk, a Lakota visionary who had a great vision that is at the basis of native prophecy. And that is, when he described his vision, he said, "Then I was standing on the highest mountain of them all, and around about beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw. For I was seeing in the sacred manner the shapes of all things in the spirit, and the shape of all shapes, as they must live together like one being. And I saw that the sacred hoop of my people was one of many hoops that made one circle, wide as daylight and as starlight. And in the center grew one mighty flowering tree to shelter all the children of one mother and one father. And I saw that it was holy." So now we're going to sing a song to commemorate the vision of freedom. First song, I'd like you to join me in these songs. The first song I want to sing is one that I learned from Dr. King himself. And it goes like this. It's an old spiritual song. I'm just going to change the words a little bit and you'll catch on. Oh, freedom. Whoa, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more separation, no more separation, no more separation over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more hatred, no more hatred, no more hatred over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more violence, no more violence, no and be free. One more time. No more fences. No more fences. No more fences around me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. And now I'd like to sing. Everybody join in. This is a song that came to us from the Eagle Nation, who are the freest of all and can see the farthest of all. Thank you, Dr. Emily Bornstein. And I'd like to have Kenny Frost, a Ute gentleman, who is a Ute of the caretakers of the land here in the Roaring Fork Valley. They're the original people of the Roaring Fork Valley. And I'm very honored that he's here with us, and I'd like him to say a few words.
Oh.
Well, I wrote a few things here today. Some of the things is, this is Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. His speech basically took on freedom, the rights of people, particularly the rights of people of color. Today we honor this great visionary, Martin Luther King. His life was cut short, but the legacy he left behind is a foundation to build on. It was a dream of people being equal amongst all men and women. People of color enjoy some rights, but not all rights due to color. To be only condemned by authority or by people's views or beliefs. Native rights are still a long ways in coming. We still cannot do things as everyone. Rights that people take for granted. If we do have any, we are given permission, and restrictions are placed on us. From Alaska to the West Coast, to the East Coast, we do not have rights to hunt, fish, or even worship, or even conduct our general affairs without restrictions placed on natives across the U.S. Yet people who pass Ellis Island may have rights guaranteed automatically to them. We, the people of color, no matter who we are or what we are, do not have this, no matter where we're from or who we are. Rights for Native women, as well as women of color, and all women's rights are constantly being violated by men, employers, or even spouses across the lands and around the world. Sexual exploitation by men, spouses, and employers have been around to see women as sex objects is not right. Due to people's belief as women as being weak for money, employment, or even shelter, they use the female whose rights are not fully guaranteed as well. This is not right. Women's self-esteem, worth, and confidence at times has been destroyed. Many lives of many good women have been gone, or is gone, or those women are no longer with us. Things must change for them as well. In the Native American belief system, it is the women who are the cornerstone of a family, and they must be treated with respect and dignity, no matter who they are, whether they are natives or people of color or women in general. But respect is due to them. Dr. King has left, but we are here and must carry on with his beliefs. If we don't, then we will destroy the idea of unity and the family value. The dream must live on. The legacy will live. We must carry on. All people must respect each other. Oh, thank you.
Wallace, could you share a few words with us? This is Wallace Black Elk, a Lakota elder.
Iho mitakwe oyasi. It is honor and respect be with you, all of you here on this Turtle Island. I told my nephew here, we've been marching around here 500 years now. For the last 200 years, we've been marching around in the concrete jungles. But here, we're talking about the Chinoopa that my grandpa saw in a vision through that Chinoopa. So that flowering tree we call Chinoopa. So it is a living tree, and we're all part of it. So Chinoopa, you have to practice and learn how to learn our language, at least learn how to say Chinoopa. If we could, my nephew, now if we could speak your language, it's about time. If you guys hang around here 200 years or 500 years, you should understand our language. So I speak Lakota very fluently. And English, oh, forget. But here, we talk about the Chinoopa, and the living tree is misinterpreted in English, and they call it sacred pine. So we are the real earth people, and nobody knows how long we've been hanging around here. Because I have anthropology, they could go back 50,000 years, and the geology, they say must be hanging around here 1 million years ago. And then Archies come along, we might be hanging around here 1 billion years ago. So nobody could really put data on us. So nobody really know how old I am or how old our grandma or grandpa is, see. So, well, we are earth people, we are of this turtle island. And this turtle island, just imagine, only 500 years ago, we are totally free people. See? And so, I want to say that and remind you that we're only free people only 500 years ago. And now we are free people, and this long island we call Turtle Island is a home of Lakota. What Lakota means, peace-loving people. Peace-loving people means the winged people and the four-legged people, the creepers and crawlers and the mammal and fish people, and the tail end, we're the two-legged people. We are people, peace-loving people. Lakota, that's the definition of the Lakota. That's what it means. Hopi, Dine, you, that's what it means, see. So we speak many languages, yet we speak the same mind. So like when Geneva, UN, World Court, there's nothing there. And as long as we're called American Indians, no, they'll never recognize us. But now we'll be recognized our own way of life. So this is the home of peace.
Oh.
So all nations are here. We went to a meeting, and all the international or interdenominational World Council of Church, it's a long name. They all come, and I got back from Tokyo, and they pulled me off, and they threw me in the trunk and threw my suitcase in the back seat, and they hauled me out in Estes Park, and they gave me a title, Listen to Nature. So, people have never heard or listened to nature. These are just things and stuff here. Like John Harvey goes this way and see the whole world in front of him. He doesn't know what he saw. So like what my grandpa, what he saw is beyond explanation, see? So the tree, the chinampa was in the midst, see? And that hoop was broken. See, that hoop was broken, now it's got a mend. And we'll be united together. And that's the only way we're going to mend this hoop that is broken. So all nations, we're all standing on one universe, and we have one creator and one holy mother. So it's good to see my nephew, good to see you here. Yeah, there are people, my brothers are out there, my sister out there. So we kind of bumped into each other down there. What do you call that place? That island? San Juan, Puerto Rico. News media are coming. Is this first time here in San Juan? No. I was here before Columbus. And I come on a TV, and it's a little small island, so they televised 2 days, and everybody got to hear this. I was here before Columbus. So everywhere we go, everybody shake hands. And they were glad to meet us and to see a real people there. So I want to say thank you that way. And this is the home of peace. And one more, we smoked the chinampa with Dr. Martin Luther King. And that's the way we got started. Oh, thank you. Mitaku Yasi.
Oh.
Thank you, Grandfather. Thank you, Grandfather Wallace Black Elk, Lakota elder. And now, Bill Stirling, would you like to say a few words, former mayor of Aspen?
And that wasn't grass that they were smoking back in the early 60s with Martin Luther King. It's an honor to be here. And it's a great challenge that we have before us here, reflected, I think, by the number of people that are here. There are more signs than people, actually. And I want to thank Connie Marlow for her efforts in bringing Wallace Black Elk, Kenny Frost, Dr. Bornstein, and others who have come today. It's always a deep and rich experience for us to share part of their lives with us. I remember in the 1960s, the Highlander Folk School, which was right outside the community where I attended college, which was called Sewanee, University of the South, halfway between Nashville and Chattanooga, in the Jim Crow South. And the Highlander Folk School was a remarkable place where they taught how to participate in a sit-in or a march. They taught the principles of Gandhi. And Martin Luther King used to teach at this school. He used to lecture at this school. And in my senior year, one of our foreign students, I think he was from New York, was captured by a couple of other fellow students at midnight, shaved his head, and they tarred and feathered his head because he had been attending the Highlander Folk School. And I can only recall how fearful I was then and what courage I lacked to really stand up and be counted at that time to support that young man who was so violated. But Martin Luther King inspired me to go into the Peace Corps after that experience, inspired me to go to Atlanta University to talk about pulling Jim Crow down in the southern United States. He inspired me to go on to Harlem to teach students there. And he inspired me to teach returning Vietnam veterans to help reintegrate them into the society again. And so, you know, what is this man's legacy? You know, in the world, I think we can say that his legacy is Ireland today. I think it's the Middle East today. I think it's South Africa today. I think it's the Berlin Wall down. I think we can think about those as directly related to the work of Martin Luther King. However, there's still Burundi and Rwanda, Chechnya, and Northern India, and so many other examples that are just the opposite of the ones I just gave you. Just think of it nationally. Think about the opportunities that there are for people of color, the opportunities for women, the opportunities for people of all kinds of persuasions in this country. They're much greater than they were 28 years ago. There are women on the Supreme Court. There's a black person on the Supreme Court. There have been more than one. A black man has run for president. A woman has run for vice president. Women and blacks are senators. It appears as if there are places for them in our society. However, on the other hand, there are more crimes against women by men today than ever before. 30% of all the unemployed in America are black men. The wages for women are far, far less than they are for men. And the homelessness just rises. Let's think about it in the state of Colorado and here in Aspen, Colorado. Aspen's known to be a very tolerant and diversified and sophisticated and open kind of community. It's a nuclear-free zone. It has legislation which says you cannot discriminate against anyone because of their color, because of their religion, because of their gender, because of their sexual orientation. On the other hand, Colorado is the home of Amendment Number 2. And Aspen is the home of recalls, where citizens try to throw elected officials out. It's also the home of elected officials who sometimes are very intolerant and impatient with citizens. So we've got a long way to go. And I think if Martin Luther King were here today, the kinds of issues that he would take on would be population growth. He would defend never letting another indigenous people, like the people of the Lakota Sioux, like the Ute Indians, ever vanish again. The indigenous people of the world are vanishing as we speak by the hundreds of thousands. The forests are vanishing. They're being violated, they're being corrupted, they're being burned down, and human development is having a lot to do with it. Also, the endangered species are being slaughtered left and right as we speak, and the habitat for all creatures is under great threat. So I hope 28 years from today, when Connie reads those words again on this very place, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty. I hope in 28 years we will be free at last. Thank you.
And let's see, Carolyn Smith, would you like to say a few words? Carolyn's here from Denver, and she has some insightful words that may be some keys to freedom.
I'm honored to be here and to be allowed to talk. My message is about freedom and unity and equality and balance. And it's not my message, actually, it's the message to all of us, from all of us. If we want to look out there at what's going on out there, what we see is a series of changes, waves coming into the shore, and change comes in sections. If it looks like chaos out there right now, but it really isn't. What we're doing is coming to the end. We're coming to the end of our belief in imbalance and hierarchy.
Just turn the mic down.
That's fine. Just turn it.
And
Tilt it to you.
okay, that's good. Those are splitting apart. Separation, differentiation, diffusion, fission, difference. All those are characteristic of CD mode, and we're just ready to go into VR, where everything is wholeness and balance. And all we have to do is individually choose it. And there's nothing bad involved in it. There's nothing negative involved in it. It is all positive. It's all fun. It's all connectedness and wholeness and wellness. And it's restoration of the earth as we create fusion plants to give us endless power, endless supplies of water, and endless supplies of oxygen, fresh, clean oxygen. And we already have everything that we need now. We just need to get everyone's attention. Each of us is unique and necessary. Each of us knows a part of this that no one else can do. And we need to understand what our part is by understanding about the new reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And Dr. Emily Bornstein, you have a few words for us? Yeah, the name Gandhi kind of stirred up an image in my mind. You know, he said once, you know, we've had a lot of great teachers sent to us by the Creator, but we hardly ever pay attention to them. So let's pay attention, okay? I want to pay attention. Dr. King, Gandhi, Socrates, Jesus, Buddha. There have been a lot of great teachers here. Some of them we don't even know the names of because we come from a certain culture and somebody else knows one from another culture. So let's all share them. The white buffalo calf woman. You know, we can all share. These teachers, when they come to us, they don't say, well, you're only supposed to share this with your ethnic group. They never talk that way. And when the spirits come in the ceremony, in the lodge ceremony, when we pray with the Lakota people or with the Ute Nation, they don't come in and say, well, this is only just for you people. You're not supposed to tell anybody else. The spirits never talk that way. They're completely generous. So this is something that Gandhi understood about generosity. And it took him 50 years of his life to develop not only the discipline, but the understanding of himself and who he really was, and what a human being really is, that allowed him to accomplish what he did. And just in case anybody doesn't know who Gandhi was, there's some young people here, and I don't know whether this is still being taught about. He was a person who was able to help the British Empire get out of India with almost no violence. And this was a massive kind of thing. So it was a pretty amazing thing what he was able to do. And this is what he said once. He said, a human being is an enormous spiritual force, barely contained within a physical body. Let me repeat that because it's important enough. It warrants repeating. A human being is an enormous spiritual force, barely contained within a physical body. If you think about this and what it really means, what this lady said, what grandfather said, what Kenny said, all of these, you can see, you can begin to visualize how all of this can come true. If what Gandhi said is true, and I believe it is, because the proof of the pudding is in the tasting, and he showed us that it could be done. Jesus showed us that it could be done, but people don't seem to believe Jesus anymore. They say they believe him, but they don't listen to what he said and what he did. He showed us the path to walk. He showed us how to do it, but people haven't been paying attention, or else they decided it was too hard. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. And one more little story that came to me, I can't even remember where I got it, but I don't care anymore where I learn things. I just want to learn. This is a story about an old Hindu holy man that was sitting on the edge of a riverbank. And he was meditating, and next to him was sitting his disciple. And the disciple was observing everything that the holy man did very carefully because he wanted to grow up and be a holy man himself. Anyway, this scorpion came walking along the riverbank, and he fell in the river. So the holy man reached over and he pulled the scorpion out of the river, and he put it on the bank very carefully. And as he did so, the scorpion stung his hand. So he went on with his prayers, and about a minute later, the same thing happened again. The scorpion walked along, and he fell in the river, and the holy man reached down and again pulled the scorpion out of the river, placed him gently on the bank, and once again the scorpion stung his hand. So then he went on with his meditation. So this happened a third time. By this time, this disciple was fit to be tied, and he just didn't know, he couldn't contain himself, so he said, "Excuse me, Master, but I have to ask a question. This foolish scorpion keeps on stinging you even though you are rescuing him from this river." And the holy man said, "Well, you see, he cannot help himself. He's a scorpion. It is his nature to sting." So then the disciple was still even more puzzled. He said, "Well, why don't you just let the foolish fellow go?" And he said,
Well, I too cannot help myself. I am a human being, and it is my nature to help. With that, I leave you with Takuyasa.
Oh.
Thank you, Emily. And Terry Paulson, do you have a few words for us, City Council member of Aspen?
I have very few words. A couple of years ago, Bill Stirling asked me to give some awards to some city function. I forget what it was, and I am not a terrific speaker in front of people, and I had a lot of hesitation when Connie called me to say a few words today, and I still am very hesitant because there's so many words out there that have already been said, and it makes me wonder why we aren't listening to all this wisdom. And one thing that Martin Luther King really meant to me was he's not the originator of what I'm about to say, but it boils down to the same things that he's saying. And freedom is the right to do what ought to be done. And that's very true nowadays. And if we don't do the right thing, I really think that we're going to be in deep doo-doo, so to speak, in the next 50 years or so. And everybody keeps saying, how are we ever going to be free? Well, we need something to unify us so that we can be free. And one thing we're going to have to do is take care of the earth, because that's the only unifying thing that we have left. There's so many people in the world, and all of us have so many different ideas, and this word ought means a lot of different things to different people. And I don't mean to lecture, but it just concerns me a lot, and that's why I ran for office, because if we don't take care of the place we live in, it doesn't matter what we say, or how many philosophers come about, it doesn't mean anything, because we're all going to perish, and we're going to destroy the place we're living in. So I would suggest that we start looking into whatever we do. If we're driving to Denver, we ask ourselves, how does this interfere with our earth? Or whatever. We must do that. Otherwise, we're not going to have anything. And time's moving very quickly. Many of us are in our 30s and 40s, and we've seen so many changes in just the time we've been here. It's unbelievable how things are running. It's like light speed. So we need to get our act together and do what ought to be done. And that's where the true freedom comes in. Thank you.
We've had a great representation here from the city of Aspen. And oftentimes people say to me, Aspen, you know, why are you talking about freedom? What, you know, you kind of have it all. And I say, yes, with privilege comes responsibility. It is our responsibility. We no longer fear eating, no longer fear having a place to live. We need to walk forward and lead the world in going beyond fear, an understanding of the abundant universe, an understanding of trust that we can do sitting here in Aspen, Colorado with clean air and freedom of movement. So I just want to thank the city of Aspen for supporting this rally. And anyone else would like to say something? Hinton, you have a poem to read.
Thank you. And I'd like to, my name is Hinton, and I'm a local poet, and often I'm in a paper and people make comments about my poem, but I wrote a poem about Martin Luther King when he died. I was in, where was I? I was in Georgia when Martin Luther King died, and I wanted to go there, but I was restricted. I couldn't go to where he had, to his funeral. But Martin Luther King, I remember when I was a child, his voice, something about Martin Luther King's voice always caught my attention because he spoke from his heart, and he had a feeling of humanity that rang in his heart like no one else I've ever heard. I'd like to thank Connie a whole lot, because she's an incredible human being, and I really appreciate her persistence in being dedicated to freedom and to the indigenous people. I went on a wonderful trip with her to Mexico, and we had incredible experiences. And I want to thank Wallace for being here. He was my grandfather also. Wallace was my first Native American experience, and it has made a great impression on me, and I've been dedicated to it ever since. Thank you. We went to Mexico, and one of the things I experienced in Mexico through this great adventure, Journey for Peace and Healing with Connie, was that I don't want to be pessimistic, but it seems like it's almost hopeless. What we saw was exploitation of human resources, exploitation of forest of for cattle, for development, for timber. I mean, it was sad. It was heartbreaking. We drove for miles and miles and miles, and we saw nothing but stripped land, forest, and the Indians had been put in reservations in Guatemala. They were executed, and so it goes on all around the world, and it's still happening. And people, for their own personal profits, are killing indigenous people. And I don't know. Here we are in 1996, and you think we would come to our senses and it would stop, but it doesn't seem to, it hasn't sunk in yet, and because greed is still there. But I just want to share this poem with you. He is what America, I'm sorry, I'm going to start over. I got too much on my mind. I'm in too many places at one time. I want to be present. He is what the American dream is all about. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As a human family, we will rise to these beliefs and come together as one people, one planet, where there will be no injustice or oppression, but a quality of life and freedom and justice, for we, the people, are the voice and the power to carry it into effect. So on this day, a man of great character has died, but in his voice, the wise wisdom of liberty rings out, and his dream shall live forever. In memory of Martin Luther King. Thank you.
One thing, Hinton referred to the Mexican indigenous people. And on January 1st, 1994, the Mayan people rose in rebellion against the greed machine. They basically said the greed machine stops here. And with the passage of NAFTA on January 1st, 1994. So what I'd like to say is, when are we going to stop the fear machine that drives the greed machine? And I think that's up to us. Anyone else? Anyone? Well, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of unity and freedom, we'll close this rally.
How about a circle?
Circle.
A circle, yeah. Everybody sing, please. Everybody. It's easy to sing.
How about we join hands and
yes, join hands.
Make this circle
okay? Everybody join hands. Come on. This is the way we did it when we marched for freedom.
Yes.
Everybody together. Well, people together. Let me say, there's refreshments down below at the Aspen Underground. Some free hot cider and stuff like that.
Great. Everybody join, please. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around Colorado, I'm gonna let it shine. All around Colorado, I'm gonna let it shine. All around Colorado, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around America or Turtle Island, I'm gonna let it shine. All around Turtle Island, I'm gonna let it shine. All around Turtle Island, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around this Mother Earth, I'm gonna let it shine. All around this Mother Earth, I'm gonna let it shine. All around this Mother Earth, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more. All around the universe, I'm
I'm gonna let it shine. All around the universe, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the universe, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, refreshments downstairs. Everybody come on down. Yeah.